And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, August 10th, 2024. And if you'd like additional information on top of what I give you in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a web page with a map of the continental U.S., Hawaii, and Alaska to the lower left. And if you point and click anywhere on this map, it'll give you a very specific forecast for any location in the country, including any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. A quick check of the map this Saturday afternoon. We still have flood watches and some flash flood warnings for heavy rainfall due to thunderstorms here in the eastern portion of North Carolina. Heat advisory parts of Florida. And back along the Texas coast, we have red flag warnings for scattered dry thunderstorms or windy and dry conditions in northeast Nevada. And then flash flood watches for the slot canyons in southern Utah due to thunderstorms producing some heavy rainfall. Well, speaking of heavy rainfall, we have another round of moderate to locally heavy rain that'll be moving through the southern mainland now through Sunday as another low comes in off the Bering. It's currently pushing up in toward Kuskokwim Bay, and that low will work its way across the southwest interior, driving a front through the Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, and across the Gulf. So we have, at the current time, flood watches and flood warnings, wind advisories, high wind warnings. And then it's still looking like here through and beyond mid-month, cooler than normal temperatures with wetter than normal weather expected over the western mainland here through and just beyond mid-month. Quick check of some of the FAA webcams. Akiak there in the south end of Kodiak Island has rain, fog, and breezy conditions, temperature at 52 degrees. Squentna there in the western portion of the Susitna Valley, rain is on the increase, another 1 to 2 inches of rain. There are flood warnings for this area as rivers have been at moderate flood stage in that location since we got that heavier rainfall back a few days ago in the midweek. Temperature only 49 degrees. Black Rapids up there through the central Alaska range. It's going to become windier than it is now. High wind warnings in effect for that location. And then Juneau, you've had a chance this afternoon to help dry things out after the catastrophic flooding that occurred here the other week as a result of the Suicide Basin Mendenhall Glacier outburst there. And conditions should stay dry now into at least the first part of Sunday, though some showers will try to be moving in there Sunday afternoon and certainly evening with this next frontal system. And looking at the warnings, advisories, different things of note, we have the flood watches for the Susitna Valley, as well as along the eastern Kenai Prince William Sound. Another 1 to 3 inches here along the Gulf Coast as a result of this front that's working its way slowly east-northeastward. Another at least inch or two of rainfall in Susitna Valley. And then areas further north, we have high wind advisories and warnings in effect for the Alaska range as a result of some strong gap winds. So flood warnings continue along Lake Creek, Squentna, and Yentna rivers there in the Susitna Valley. Shot from a couple days ago showing the flooding impacting some of the lodges there along the rivers. And we expect another inch or two of rain coming in that area for now through Sunday. We also have a high wind warning in effect for the Anchorage area. So winds are expected to be gusting 35 miles an hour or so on the west side of town, maybe 45 miles an hour up on the north end toward J-Bear, and then areas further into Anchorage Hillside and along Turnagain Arm, gusts of 65 to potentially as high as 75 miles an hour could occur in some of those higher elevations this evening through early Sunday morning prior to daybreak. And then, of course, with the rain, cooler temperatures, we found now that the fire danger has just been shut down across the state, except for maybe a little pocket around Northway in the very far upper end of the Tanana Valley at the Canadian border, so that's good news. And looking at the satellite imagery, here comes the next weather system. Low pressure, you can see the curl in the clouds. The low surface low is working its way into Kuskokwim Bay between Bethel and Dillingham. And here's the front ahead of it pushing up into Kodiak Island. That front will gradually work its way through south central and along the Gulf Coast It'll have with it some strong gusty winds. As I just said, we have wind advisories and wind warnings for the Anchorage area and Turnagain Arm, as well as up along the Alaska Range, which is very typical when we have this kind of setup. Feed of moisture coming in up off the Pacific, as well as what came in off the Bering Sea. So this is another wet system. Anchorage area easily pick up another half to an inch of rain, locally some higher amounts. And we find, again, some of the heavier rainfall will be right here along the northwestern Gulf Coast, the eastern Kenai coastline up along Prince William Sound, another 1 to 3 inches of rain likely with the system. So here is the low. Somewhat strong. I mean, still not a super strong low, but it does have some gale force winds around it, and it's just a very wet system. We're still shifting out here between late summer, early fall, but certainly a hint of that. We have a cold front, though, taking shape, pushing across eastern Russia. Little hint of some cooler weather that's going to be pulling in here across the Bering Strait, Chukchi Sea coming up as we go through Sunday into Monday. Ridge of high pressure has held long enough to bring at least the Panhandle generally dry weather. Warmest temperatures in the Panhandle this Saturday afternoon have been around 70 down around Ketchikan and Metlakatla. But by the time we get into late tonight, early Sunday morning, we find the low pressure there moving in through the southwest interior, just west of the Alaska Range, with this front pushing up across the Kenai Peninsula up toward the northern Gulf. And this will be the focus of stronger winds. You get those easterly, southeast to easterly Turnagain Arm winds pulling in there, causing the high winds along Anchorage, upper east hillside. And then back to the northwest here, we have that cold front that'll be working its way toward the Bering Strait Sunday afternoon. And the low that we're dealing with now kind of reshapes, but not is strong, and as it begins to push inland and weaken. But as this front works its way eastward, it'll spread some more rain across the northern Panhandle during Sunday afternoon. And looking at by Monday, the system does tend to weaken and dry out. There'll still be plenty of remnant moisture around the Alaska Range, keeping showers, some lower ceilings in place. Things don't really dry out until midweek. We'll have drier conditions across south central come Tuesday. Wednesday shaping up to be a better day, just as kind of a little hint of what to expect. Some ridging will bring in some really nice weather across south central on Wednesday. That would be my choice day of the week if you like dry conditions and warmer temperatures. Front here to the north moves along a little faster through the Arctic Ocean and the Chukchi Sea, slows up a bit back there toward the Kamchatka coastline. And so again, we're going to see a little better weather once we get by at least this weekend here for areas of the southern mainland. So temperatures stay generally above 50 in the Panhandle, mild. Some areas will dip into the mid-upper 40s, Copper River Basin, Susitna Valley. And then temperatures with the cloud cover and rain will have a hard-pressed to get much out of the 50s for highs. Back through the southern Panhandle, could still see a near 70-degree reading here around Ketchikan, but cooler in the north with the clouds and some showers moving in there around Haines and Juneau for the afternoon. Back to the west, the rains might just start to taper off in the afternoon and evening. I think the heaviest rains through Anchorage Bowl and the south central Kenai area will be tonight in through Sunday morning. And then Monday morning lows, some areas could dip into the 40s again. Generally above 50, low mid 50s for the Panhandle for Monday morning, and then high temperatures generally in the 60s across the Panhandle, warmest readings in the south, and perhaps a 67 there at Skagway. Monday afternoon, still some lingering showers and moisture in areas around the mountains, and just not drying out completely, not until we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, south central, or I should say north central areas of the state, 40s generally in the low for lows, highs kept in the 50s, so pretty short distance between the high and low temperatures there. That gap, the diurnal variation because of the cloud cover and these systems coming in, it could still maybe squeak out a 70-degree reading here down around Northway. And Sunday afternoon, it's not impossible there could be an isolated thunder shower pop up along the Alcan border, say Eagle down toward Northway, but that would be it as far as any thunder potential. The rest of the time, just breezy, rains, cooler temperatures, 50s for highs. Low temperatures Monday morning, we could see some mid-upper 30s here along the central portion of the Brooks Range, North Slope, Arctic coast toward Yadvik, Wainwright, those areas. But it will be cooling down a bit. And then daytime highs Monday afternoon with lingering showers here along and north of the Alaska Range. Highs generally still only in the 50s. Southwest interior 40s for lows tonight with cloud cover and rain extending out upper 40s to around 50. Alaska Peninsula down through the eastern Aleutians. Sunday afternoon, still readings in the 50s. Hard pressed, maybe flirting with 60 at Dillingham and King Salmon. 58 there at Dutch Harbor. And then Monday morning lows 40s again, generally throughout. Mid-upper 40s common. And daytime highs still confined mainly to mid-upper 50s throughout. Southwest interior and along the Alaska Peninsula into the eastern Aleutians. And this is really a broken record here. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook August 16th through the 20th. So now this brings us past mid-month. And the bullseye for below normal temperatures, you guessed it, southwest mainland, that lower Yukon Valley extending out along the Yukon coastline, including St. Lawrence, Nunavik Island. That's the area that's most likely to experience below normal temperatures, and those even extend out toward Anchorage and along areas around Cook Inlet and on the western side of the Alaska Range. There's a potential for above normal temperatures, northeast mainland, Alcan border, especially from Northway up to Arctic Village, Kaktovik. And then central northern portions of the Panhandle could see temperatures average above normal. Precipitation should average below normal, at least slightly there across areas of the Panhandle, August 16th through the 20th, with the best chance of above normal precipitation over the mainland and especially centered on the central Yukon Valley through the western Brooks Range and the western half of the North Slope to along the Arctic coast from Utqiagvik down through Kotzebue.